Time Doesn't Stop. Time Doesn't Stop is a sequel to David Goggins' You Can't Hurt Me, but it's not just a continuation of his life story, it's a deeper dive into the human mind, discipline, and mental strength. In this book, Goggins shares his journey after becoming successful and famous, but he explains that success doesn't mean stopping, but rather a new beginning for a series of more difficult challenges. If you enjoyed You Can't Hurt Me, this book will raise the bar to the maximum as Goggins shares new lessons on how to deal with pain, criticism, the feeling of emptiness after achieving accomplishments, and how to rebuild yourself again and again. Chapter 1. The Continuous Curse. There is no finish line. Goggins begins with an important question. What comes after success? After he published his first book, many thought he had achieved everything. He became famous, got money, and achieved global success. But the surprise was that he felt an internal failure, or main story. After the success of his first book, he began to feel empty. Instead of comfort, he began to hate himself for feeling soft and weak. He realized that success itself could be a dangerous trap if one succumbed to the feeling of comfort. Key lessons. Success can be the enemy of growth. If you feel satisfied, you are in danger. There is no finish line in self-growth. You must always remain in battle mode. Comfort regression. True success is in continuing, not reaching one goal only. Chapter 2. The Devil Within. The Battle of Mind and Body. After years of rigorous training, injuries began to accumulate on his body. In this chapter, he recounts how his body began to break down, but he did not allow his mind to give up. Main story. He was suffering from serious knee and heart problems. Doctors told him that he needed to stop running and intense training. He had two choices. 1. Give in to the pain and live like a normal person. 2. Rebuild himself again from scratch. He decided to take the harder option and began rebuilding his body despite the pain. Key lessons. Pain is not an excuse to stop, but an opportunity to test your limits. Your mind has more power than you can imagine. Even when your body tells you enough, you can push it harder. The hard way is the only way to true growth. Chapter 3. Voices of Doubt. Facing criticism. As his fame grew, people began to criticize him and question his accomplishments. He had to decide. Would he listen to them or continue on his path? Key story. There were critics who tried to diminish his accomplishments, saying he was exaggerating or that he was a pain addict. Some tried to prove that he was not as extraordinary as he claimed. But Goggins didn't care. He told himself, if I listened to them, I would go back to the weak person I was before. Key lessons. Don't let anyone define your worth. People will try to bring you down when you succeed. Prove yourself with actions, not words. Criticism is part of success. The older you get, the more haters there are. Chapter 4. Facing the darkness when a person doubts themselves. Even the strongest people have moments of weakness. In this chapter, Goggins tells a story of how he first began to doubt himself after years of mental strength. Main story. After injuries, he began to feel hesitation and inner doubt. Was he still up for the challenge? Was his career over? But he realized that the solution was not to run away from these feelings, but to face them with double strength. Key lessons. Everyone has moments of doubt. Don't let them destroy you. Let them motivate you. Emotional pain is not an enemy. It can be a teacher. The real battle is not against others, but against yourself. Chapter 5. Back to Hell, the Impossible Race. In this chapter, he tells the story of participating in one of the most difficult races, where he almost lost the ability to continue, but pushed himself to the limit of his human being. Main story. It was such a tough race that many dropped out halfway through, but he refused to stop even when he was on the verge of complete collapse. Key lessons. Your true potential is 40% more than you think. When you think you're done, you still have the energy to keep going. Don't stop because of the pain. Make it a reason to keep going. Chapter 6. Silence and Discipline. Refocus. He talks about the importance of isolation and focusing on the goal instead of being distracted by people's opinions. Key story. He decided to stay away from social media and reduce interaction with others to return to his strict regime. Key lessons. Focus and discipline are stronger than any external motivation. Sometimes isolation is necessary to rebuild yourself. Don't waste your time pleasing others. Focus on developing yourself. Chapter 7. Rebuilding from scratch. When you have to start over. In this chapter, he narrates how after his severe injury, he had to rebuild his body and mind again. Main story. Instead of giving up, he decided he would come back stronger than ever and began an intensive healing journey to get himself back into fighting shape. Key lessons. It's never too late to start over. If you fall 100 times, get up 101 times. Rebuilding is harder than starting, but it brings out a stronger version of you. Conclusion. Never stop. Ultimately, Goggins emphasizes that life is a series of constant battles, and that true success is not in reaching the top, but in not stopping the climb. Final lessons. 1. Keep pushing yourself even when you think you've arrived. 2. Don't allow yourself to relax because rest equals setback. 3. True success is continuing to improve, not reaching just one goal. This book is a roadmap to self-discipline and mental strength, and emphasizes that time never stops and the journey never ends.